Hello, drum school and drummer friends, and anybody else who's looking in. It's Alan here. Hope everybody's keeping well. Today, we're going to be looking at a cool salsa rhythm. So, to get us started, we're going to hand over to my good buddy, Groove Brother Al. Check out that shirt. Okay, let's salsa. Okay, so that's the pattern that we're going to be looking at today. There's a number of variations when it comes to playing salsa. I got that one from a book that was recommended to me a number of years ago. Excellent book by a drummer called Keith Copeland, who I believe was tutored by the famous Alan Dawson. So this is really an excellent book, not just for salsa, but for there's jazz, there's samba, and various other patterns in there. It's really excellent. So highly recommended. The key thing to remember when it comes to playing a salsa, which is essentially a Cuban rhythm, is that we're trying to emulate or duplicate or replicate, whatever word you want to use, a small percussion group. And our drum set becomes that small group. So in a particular group, I had a student who went to Cuba for a holiday one year. They're very lucky. And I asked them if they ever saw any street musicians play, or any concerts on the go where there was someone was selling CDs, to bring me one back. And I would pay them for it, but they brought me one back as a present. I was delighted, and on the cover you can see the various musicians. So you might have a timbale player, you might have a bongo player, a conga player, and maybe someone with a güiro, and then clave sticks as well. So any sort of combination of those. And what we essentially do when we're playing these patterns is that our drum set becomes each one of those individual elements. So in the same way that each one of those instruments is really important for creating the rhythm, each one of the individual rhythms that are played are important, obviously. So on the ride cymbal, we've got what we call the cascara. Best way to remember the cascara is: like potatoes, I don't like carrots. I like potatoes, I don't like carrots. I like potatoes, I don't like carrots. Okay? Next part of the pattern is essentially a biao foot pattern, which will go, if we're counting it out in a regular bar of rhythm, it's going to be on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we're going to be playing those two together. And the other elements of the rhythm that we're going to be replicating are like the clave sticks as a rim shot, and the bongos, or maybe the congas. The tom-toms are going to play that part. So as you can see, our task as the drum set player is to replicate each individual instrument that's being played on the drums. If you haven't played any of these patterns before, or you're new to playing Latin rhythms, especially in this one, a good place to start is with the biao foot pattern, and we're going to keep time on the 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. You don't want to be playing them too fast. That rhythm that Groove Brother Al was playing was going about 126 beats per minute. Keith Copeland in his book recommends practicing them from like 100 to 132 beats per minute. So I would start off at the lower end and just get used to the feel, especially if you've never played anything like this before. Just get used to the feel of what it's like to play that pattern before you start adding any of the other elements to that. This is a good place to start, and even slower if you need to. Probably best to take it slow. So I reckon that's a good place to start with the BIO foot pattern and then 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. There isn't one single approach that I found suits all students. In all the years I've been working with the intermediate and advanced students, I've found some that can cope with adding in certain elements differently to another student. So it's not a one size fits all. So what I'm going to do is play some combinations. You might find, oh yes, that combination works for me. A couple of elements or maybe 3 of the elements, that works for me. Another student might find, no, that's a bit tricky. Oh, but I can do the second combination. So at the end of the day, what we're aiming at playing is them all together. Just remember, this is a 4-way independence exercise. We've got one pattern on the ride cymbal, different one on the bass drum, working between the snare drum and the toms, or the rim shot and the toms, and then we're keeping time in the hi-hat. That's 4-way independence. So that's tricky. Obviously, whenever we watch incredible Latin drummers like Horacio Hernandez, who just make it look so easy, and they're playing a lot more complex rhythms than this. But that's not for us, not for today anyway. This is a good place for us to start and for me to cope with too. So I'm simply going to play a few combinations. Some of these might work for you. Hopefully they will, and hopefully help you to be able to eventually put the whole lot together and enjoy playing this pattern. And within that, there's going to be 2 elements, because if you were watching Groove Brother Al, he was playing the main rhythm, and then there was a little, let's call it a turnaround at the end. Both of those are taken again from Keith Copeland's book. Whenever I started to play this, I thought if I was using this on a gig, I would need something to help me to play a phrase and then come out of it and then go back into the pattern again, and that was the one that I chose. I think it works okay. So there'll be the main pattern, and then there'll be the turnaround, which is quite tricky, but we'll come to that in a second, okay? So let's get back to the examples. Here we go. Okay, so that was 9 or 10 examples of how you would approach putting this pattern together. Hopefully I've covered all the variations or most of the main variations, and you can dip in and out of those to see what suits you as you work on this. I'm now going to do the turnaround. It's a wee bit different, wee bit more tricky, again a bit of a challenge, but great fun. Hopefully you'll enjoy working on that too, and then you'll have the full pattern to work on, and let's look at that now. Okay, so here's the turnaround. And then we're going to do the same as what we did with the main pattern and look at different ways to approach putting that all together. Turn around. If I count the rim shot and the tom pattern, it's going to be like this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So professional level drummers, there's lots of examples there, both from the main part of the rhythm and then what I was calling the turnaround, which is really just a variation on that pattern. Hopefully those examples will help you. You can dip in and out of them as you try to put a couple of elements and then maybe 3 elements and then a different set of elements together as you work on this. It's a good exercise to do that actually, because there's so many other Latin patterns that operate in the same way whenever we're applying them to the drum set. So hopefully you've worked through that and enjoyed working on that from Keith Copeland's excellent book. Highly recommended. You'll see the patterns in that book, and hopefully you've enjoyed working through that. I look forward to seeing you on the next tuition video. Please remember to give me a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as my subscription channel. And take care. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.